Miami Gardens police have confirmed they are searching for a missing person who was last seen here at Hard Rock Stadium, which hosted Rolling Loud over the weekend.
This is probably one of the worst weekends of my life. And I didn't even care about the Rolling Loud festival when she disappeared. Like, at all. I have reported her missing. That took like 15 hours. And then I've checked almost every hospital that I can think of. Still no word from any hospital. My biggest fear is that she's been taken by somebody who's not going to take care of her. And if I don't see her again, then that's really gonna kill me inside.
Listen to the floor.
Hey, what's up, it's Kid Mel. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. And we're going to be talking about Ashley Espinosa Sanchez. Now, this is another Florida story. And if you haven't seen the story from this morning, Darius Swain, definitely check it out because that one took place in Tallahassee where he was visiting from Sanford. And you guys left some great comments and questions that I didn't really even think of. What about all the camera, right? Behind the Walmart, at the dollar store, at the Dunkin' Donuts. There's got to be more to the story. Now, with this one, Ashley and her friend Nicholas, they drove down from Tallahassee to Miami because there was this big event called Rolling Loud. It's a Rolling Loud concert. I've never been there before. I've heard of it. It started in 2015 as a one-day event, and now it's one of the largest hip-hop events in the world, and it was a 3-day event from March 23rd to March 25th. Now, this story, before we go any further, and by the way, please hit like, help get the video, help out the algorithm if you support and like what I do. But this story, kind of like Darius Swain, Bieber commented earlier and mentioned that it reminded her of Quan Charles, which I literally thought about that last night. I did a search for him. He's another story. You can search my channel for that. It made me think of Quan Charles with Darius. And now with this story with Ashley, it made me think of these two women that we've covered recently. Tyara, you can check it out on my channel. She was actually found and she's safe now, but I believe she has other issues. But she was found. She went to the Fountain Blue from Las Vegas, Nevada. And then also this girl, I covered this, Angela Morsi. With this was really weird and bizarre, and I did an update to that I don't think many people saw, which she was found several weeks after she came from California with her fiance. They had some issues and trouble. I wish both of these ladies the best, and I've moved on from that since they were found. But it was super bizarre because she was missing for weeks in Miami, and I think there's a whole lot to that. But with a lot of these stories, I think once the person is found and it's some personal stuff, maybe mental health, etc., we're not going to find out anything else besides that. So it was somewhat reminiscent, Ashley, because I think about, okay, somebody came from Tallahassee to come down to Miami to party. Miami's pretty crazy, and I'm going to share a little bit of my own experience. But Miami's pretty crazy.
Nicholas Prevost says he saw his friend Ashley Espinosa Sanchez was Saturday night. They drove from Tallahassee to South Florida together to attend the 3-day music festival Rolling Loud.
So they drive up for this event in the same vehicle. It's a 3-day event. Nicholas says the last time he saw her was Saturday night. And he did put out a tweet, and I guess in talking with people, because there was reportedly 2 sightings with people that he communicated with, they stated that she was last seen wearing no shoes, which to me, that's kind of like, why are you not wearing shoes? Maybe it's a sign of maybe there was something going on.
Now, Prevost says that he actually sent out a tweet asking for help. He did get a couple of responses, and now he's trying to piece together a timeline. He says that Espinosa Sanchez was last seen wearing no shoes, a black and red striped romper with her hair possibly down.
A lot of times at these places, too, people will hand out or offer you to sell you illicit substances. One of the things that I thought was kind of weird, and I guess this is a typo on NBC Miami, it would be nice if they would clear it up. On this article, at the very bottom, they stated that Prevost says he is aware of her using any drugs. What does that mean? Did they mean to say he is not aware of her using any drugs, or he is aware that she was using drugs? I'm going to assume and say that he was not aware of her using drugs.
Since then, I have reported her missing. That took like 15 hours. And then I've checked almost every hospital that I can think of. Still no word from any hospital.
At these events, a lot of people do use substances, but there's people that don't either. There's a lot of possible scenarios because also people mix drinks with stuff. Sometimes people spike water, especially at events like this. They'll either put, things rolling. People that, I don't want to say too illicit stuff, but rolling pills. People put that stuff in a powder form in water, or sometimes I think it's called GHB. Sometimes people put that or whatever else. It'll be really easy to do that to somebody. Or people taking something willingly and they're telling you it's something and it's really not what it is. That happens a lot of times. One of the number one rules at events in general, I remember this from years ago, never ever purchase stuff at events. If you know what I mean by stuff, and which I've done. And it's not good. So yeah, I mean, I'm not making funny of all this, but just the stupid things we do as young adults and kids and teenagers and all this kind of stuff.
Prevost says when they arrived at the concert, Espinosa Sanchez handed him her phone and walked away fast before she got lost in the crowd.
So that's another factor too. You got Ashley and you got Nicholas Prevost. And at one point he states that she hands over her phone to him and disappears into the crowd. That's something that I used to do too back in the day in 2010, which was the craziest year of my life. I was going out partying. My father passed away. I don't know if I could really blame it on him or not, but I was going out partying, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, everywhere. And one of the things that I would do when I would sometimes I go by myself, sometimes I'd go with friends. And I had a habit of I'd show up with friends, especially when I was partying. I'd leave the group I was with and I would just go into the crowd, talk to everybody, just bounce from here to there through the entire place, meeting all kinds of people. The next day, I didn't even remember who they were. I had all these phone numbers in my phone. Now, I don't know what happened with her, and I'm really hoping that she's okay and safe, because there has been stories, like I've mentioned, of women that have been okay. They come up a couple days later, even a couple weeks later. So hopefully she's okay. The other thing I was wondering is, have they searched this entire area? This is the Hard Rock Stadium. Okay. This is where I believe this is like the entrance. I've never been here. I've driven around this area. This place is actually really close to me. And if they do set up a search or volunteer group, I wouldn't mind going out there and helping as well. But I believe this is the entrance. The place looks really well maintained. There's parking lots. There's the stadium. I was wondering, have they searched all these areas around, some of these grassy areas? This is the turnpike. Have they searched, there's like a little canal here too. Have they searched along the canal? Have they searched along these trees? All the way around this area. Now, like the parking lot, to me, it looks very well maintained. Like it seems like it. There's security, there's people, there's cars, all this kind of stuff, right? But what I'm wondering about is the outer perimeter. Like way out, right? Let's say, I don't know, because I've been in situations where I'm just wandering aimlessly, or if somebody took her against her will or whatever. So I just wanted to bring some attention to that story. And in 2010, I went to this place called the Sunset Music Festival. I'm going to show you a little clip where you could see me standing in line. I think it was my first time going to like a rave warehouse thing. And I was just basically doing the things that I wanted to do when I was younger. I was also just going through this thing with my dad, and I just always wanted to kind of go out, experiment, have fun. I went with a friend. And this was the craziest night, I would say, of my life. I've never told the story publicly. I think one day I would like to, as a preventative measure, just for kids or younger people in general. I don't regret what happened, but it was crazy. Let's just say this. At the end of the night, I got home in boxers. My shirt, my pants, wallet, shoes. I have no idea where that's at. All that stuff was gone. This was 2010. Years and years ago. It was a lot of negative stuff, but I learned a lot from it as well. And I'm going to put the link down below to the clip that I'm going to show you. I'm only in the intro part of this. Somebody put this video together, but that clip shows that festival, and you can see how packed it was. And the people, just look at their facial expressions. That's what some of these events are like in Florida. So in this clip here, if you take a look, this is me right here with the sunglasses, and I had this shirt that said free hugs, and you wouldn't believe how many people were walking up to me for that hug. My friend was standing off to the side. You can't really see him here. And overall, it was a fun, somewhat festival. I didn't get back home till like 6 or 7, but all my stuff was gone. I had to get a taxi cab. I was only in boxers, and I had to ask somebody to pay for me. The wildest, craziest night of my life. And there's a lot that came with this experience and many of the other experiences, but this was the one that stood out. And it's that most of these people, especially with young people, and I learned this throughout my life, most of these people you're out partying with, hanging out with, going out with on the weekends and all stuff, they're not your friends. They're not the people that's going to be there for you when something's going on, or you think you're dying, or you're in the hospital. They're not your friends. All right. So one day I would love to talk about this, because I see a lot of people still going through this kind of stuff all the time, every day. And it's just very, it was a very tough situation. I mean, from this event alone, before I went crazy, I met quite a few people. This guy here in the white shirt, this guy here in the orange shirt. I think this was Gio. I don't remember his name. And this was Talia at the time. So, the other thing with these events too is if you meet a lot of plugs, but it was wild. Like the daytime was just very nothing compared to like what happened at night. Some of the weird observations that I noticed back then, like when I went to this festival, there was a lot of young kids. I think it was supposed to be 18 plus. I don't know. Like Rolling Loud is supposed to be 18 plus. I don't know about this event, but I thought it was supposed to be 18 plus, but it seemed like there were a lot of young kids. The other thing too, like the way the thing worked is like, because I got there early, there was a lot of young kids. As the night went on and on and on, it seemed like more and more adults were there. It was a warehouse in Overtown, Miami, the worst place that I've ever been. I don't recommend going there. It's like a third world country. And the other thing too, when I was standing in line, I never forget this to the day I die. I'll probably never forget that day. There was an older guy, like an old guy, the guy with like white hair, all this kind of stuff, standing in line. He pulls out a bag out of his pocket, and it's just a bag full of pills. Full of pills. And so I could only think that those kids that were there, some of them didn't look like they were 18 if you ask me, but I don't know. A lot of them, I would say 90% of people at that event were on something, at least 90%. So, maybe one day I'll share that story, because I just want to put it out there as a PSA, a preventative measure, and that a lot of these people aren't your friends. And I'm not saying that this is at all the case with Ashley. I have no idea. But just with all the recent cases, it just reminds me of the stuff that I've been in my past, and that we're all just repeating the same thing over and over. So anyway, man, please hit the like button, turn on the bell notifications, and I appreciate you guys. Love you, and peace.
I see